Good morning. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. And on this day in history, FDR was the president. His full name was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was the president of the United States during World War II. So they just shortened his name to the abbreviation FDR. So FDR and Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of Great Britain, planned an attack on Normandy called D-Day. So on this day in history, they planned the attack. And D-Day is a very famous event in World War II. So they wanted to speed things up. The United States and Great Britain were both working together as part of the Allied powers to work against Nazi Germany. So D-Day was one of the events, one of the major events of the war and one of the major fights. So they planned D-Day on this day in history. Our word part of the day is another Latin root. And I don't think I can really say it on its own, but it's like seek or S-E-Q-U. My filter went away. S-E-Q-U means follow. So for example, a sequel follows maybe the first of something, like the first book or the first movie. I guess if you're the second child, you could refer to yourself as the sequel. Right? Maybe? Anyways. Sequential, that when you put something in sequential order or something happens in a sequence, it's following something. So if I wanted to if I wanted to tell a story in sequential order, that would mean that each event would follow the next event. And consequences, so S-E-Q-U, the root is right in the middle of the word here. A consequence is something that follows an action. So that's our word part of the day. My question of the day for you is, if you could control your dreams, what would you want to dream about at night? If you could control your dreams, what would you want to dream about at night? I don't think I'd want to control what it was about. I would think it would be really cool to dream like in a cartoon. So a lot of times personally when I dream, it looks like reality, like the people look like people and whatever. But I think it would be cool if I had a dream and everything was cartoon. I think that would be cool. I would like to have that happen to me once. So if you could control your dreams, what would you want to dream about? Or if you want to answer it like me, how would you want to dream? Maybe you want to dream in black and white, or you want to dream in a Star Wars world. What would you want to dream about if you could control it? My joke for you today is very funny. It is, where do sheep go on vacation? Where do sheep go on vacation? The Bahamas. Very funny. All right. It is Tuesday, so it is time for our random useless facts. Please check these. If you are interested, look up the origin of them, per se. Okay. Bamboo can grow 3 or 4 feet in one day. Bamboo is what pandas eat. Do-it-road pandas. Dirty snow melts faster than white snow because it reflects less light. So the difference between the colors white and black. White or lighter things reflect the light. So the light comes down and then bounces off. When things get darker, so if it's dirty, if the snow has dirt in it and it's a darker color, however, if it's closer to the color black, black absorbs the sunlight or light. So when light hits something that's black, it gets absorbed in it. So that's why if you go outside on a hot day and you're wearing a black t-shirt as opposed to a white t-shirt, you'll feel hot quicker. So when the snow gets dirtier, it melts faster because it's a darker color, so it's absorbing more of the sunlight. The longest lightning bolt ever recorded was 118 miles long. I'm wondering what tool they used to record the distance. Maybe they took a picture of the lightning bolt as it came down, and then they just measured it. In China, there are 600 bicycles for every car. So per one car, there are 600 bicycles. So if there are 2 cars, there's 1,200 bicycles. If there's 3 cars, so on and so forth. So there's lots of bicycles in China. The world's longest escalator, escalators are the motorized stairs, is in Hong Kong and raises 377 feet. A Venus flytrap can eat a whole cheeseburger. What? Someone look that up. No way. Huh. Okay, this is interesting. It takes an average of 48 to 100, so on average between 48 and 100 tries to solve a Rubik's Cube. If it's done perfectly, so if you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, any Rubik's Cube combination, so the way it's given to you, any way it's mixed up, it can be solved in 17 turns. Interesting. So most people end up turning it 48 to up to 100 times when they're trying to figure out initially, but after that, any Rubik's Cube combination can be solved in 17 turns. Interesting. Let's do a few more. What? Oh, 1 brow wrinkle, so when you get like wrinkles on your forehead, I think, like up here, is the result of 200,000 frowns. 200,000 frowns results in a brow wrinkle. Interesting. A frown doesn't necessarily have to be a super dramatic, like, it could just be like if you tense up your face. Usually you tense your face up more if you're feeling upset. All right. Ooh, I like this. Last one. The brain is more active sleeping than it is watching TV. So your brain is doing more work and firing more neurons and thinking more when you're sleeping as opposed to watching TV. Sometimes people refer to certain TV shows as like mindless television, or they put it on and they don't really have to pay attention, or sometimes if you're talking to someone when they're watching TV and they're not paying attention because they kind of zone out, that's interesting. So your brain is actually working harder when you're asleep than it is when you're watching TV. That's one of the many reasons that watching TV is not a good activity to do for extended periods of time. All right, I lost my place and now I'm upset. Oh, I got it. Okay. Those were our random useless facts. Let's do our wonder precept of the day. 14, 18, May 19th. This is from Robert Byrne. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. Think about what that means or what that means to you. I personally interpret that as meaning that if you're looking for a meaning of life or what your life's supposed to be about, it's that you're supposed to live your life in a purposeful way or an intentional way and do things that are important to you and important to others and that make a difference in your life and other people's lives. So it's to not just let things happen to you and be like, oh, I don't care about anything. It's about doing things that you care about and doing things on purpose. So being kind to people on purpose and paying attention on purpose, stuff like that. So interpret that however you may. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. Okay, we've done our random useless facts. We've done our wonder precept. We've done that. Star cubes. You'll notice I picked the space alien filter today. It came off a few times, but I think it's fun. All right, we have a book and a question mark. The book one, I am reading my 22nd book of the year. I want you to beat me and read more books than me. Make sure that you read every day, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's the back of a cereal box. I don't care what it is that you read every day. So there's a book. You could do a one-sentence story tell about a book or a story, or maybe you can look for a new book to read today, and a question mark. So do a one-sentence story tell, each person saying the next line of the story, or maybe look up a question that you've been wondering lately, or try to read a new book. whatever you can do with that. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Until next time, it's Miss G. See you soon.